Hello, my name is Yadi, and today I'm going to be presenting my persuasive speech. Let me ask you a question. If you lost your job today, how would your tomorrow look like? This is extremely important because according to a survey done in 2016, 65% of Americans actually have less than $1,000 in their savings account. And you have to think, for the 65% of Americans, what would a financial setback look like? Something like losing your job, or it could be something small like a car breaking down. It is extremely crucial to save for a rainy day. So today I'm going to be talking to you about 3 important topics that are related to saving. The first one is where we are today as a society and why that is a problem. The second one is what is preventing us from saving. And then the third one is how can we solve this together? Or how can you as an individual start saving today? That survey done in 2016 by Go Banking Rates determines that 35% of Americans have just a couple $100s in their savings accounts. And 32% actually had absolutely zero. This varied by age. It could have been from people that actually were a year from retirement. Where would we be if something does happen, if we do have a minor setback? A perfect example on December 22nd, 2018, just a few months back, there was a partial government shutdown. And according to CNBC, 420,000 government employees were asked to work without any pay. An additional 280,000 employees were asked to stay home. Now, these government employees had to rely on their savings account and had to rely on their credit cards to make debt ends meet. Now, they are not alone. 78% of Americans are actually living paycheck to paycheck. Let's look back just a few years back in 2008, the recession. According to the Seattle Times, 8.7 million people actually lost their jobs. And it cost 10 million people to lose their houses. Now, I know that this wasn't just because we didn't save, but can we look back and determine if these people had saved, would their situation have been better? An example is Warren Buffett, today one of the richest men in the world. But in his youth, he actually started by just saving money. He started saving money to buy a gumball machine, and then from the profit, continued to save money to buy a second gumball machine. And fortunately, by 2008, he was able to actually make $10 billion. Or let's look at an example that most of us can relate to, Mr. G, a man I had the chance to interview for this project. He came as a U.S. immigrant from Mexico with just a few pesos in his pocket. He didn't know the language. The only thing that he knew from his parents was to save every dollar. Luckily enough, by 2008, he was able to buy 14 houses because he had saved every penny he could in the previous years. Now, I know it's not easy, especially with all the obstacles that we go through. Let's look back in history. It has taken 100 years for us to get to $12 for minimum wage. But according to Money Magazine, it's not related to how much money we make, it's how we spend it. We tend to spend it on little things like Netflix, like Spotify, to not listen to commercials. Now, it's not a bad thing to spend your money on that. It's because every paycheck we're living in the now, and it's hard for us to focus on tomorrow. According to CNN Money, they can also list 4 reasons why we're not saving. The first one is, sadly, we don't have a budget. Most of us don't have a budget, and that is the first thing that we should have. The second one is we overextend ourselves. Our rent is the thing that we spend the most, and most of us are spending way more money than we should. The third one is our debt. We put ourselves in debt with credit card debt, with student debt. The fourth one is that we actually think that nothing will happen to us. We have to start thinking about a better tomorrow for ourselves. This cannot continue. There are different ways for you to start doing that. You can use the 50-30-20 rule according to Smart Assets. 50% would go to fixed income like rent and bills. 30% would go to extras like Netflix and pre-made drinks like Starbucks. And 20% has to go to savings account. Or we can go by what Dave Ramsey says. He goes by the zero-based budgeting rule, which is all the money that you make at the end of the month, each month, it has to equal 0 of what you spent. This is very important because then you wouldn't be spending more than what you make, and also you can adjust it to spend less and save the rest. Or you could download apps like EverDollar. Now, I hope that today I was able to show you what a crucial time we're in and what problem we have in our hands. So in conclusion, I hope that it makes you realize that there is a tomorrow, and we're not just spending all of our hard-earned money on what is today, because it is extremely crucial to save for a rainy day. As a young girl, I was always told to save a penny for a rainy day. As a young lady, I realized that that is the most important thing that we could learn. Even if you started saving $1 a day, you could make a much better tomorrow for the most important person in your life, yourself. Thank you.